Coming up tonight, senior officials meet to discuss Kava usage. Homes of Hope holds first ever open day, and flight services to islands to improve. Good evening, I'm Sandra Asan. The senior officials meeting over the past 2 days further discussed the issue of kava, both as a commercial commodity and for cultural usage. The discussion on kava is a follow-up to several meetings held in the MSG region, with the most recent held at the famous Warwick Le Lagoon Resort in Vanuatu last week.
It was organized by ACP in Europe, and after so many years of kava ban in Europe, Vanuatu initiated the move to try and put back the kava on the European market. So we had it organized in Port Vila, and everybody attended, including the Europeans and the chairmans. The chairmans were the first one to ban the kava, and in fact it was a very, very informative and very good symposium, because all the scientific research reports were presented at the time.
Given the overwhelming trade agenda facing our member MSG states, the need to further strengthening our capacity to deliver the required technical assistance is indeed vital. Thus, the deliberations from the two MSG senior officials meeting would have certainly provided the leverage in supporting the various agendas, such as kava, as an export commodity.
There was, of course, there's a lot of challenges to this way forward and the steps to be taken. First of all, is we have to tidy up our backyard because of our standard and standard issues, quality issues, which we should address. And export to not just the European, but also other markets, emerging economies like China, India, Brazil, and of course the regional markets. So we should really trade among ourselves. But initially, the first step that was taken because of this research and studies, quality and standards were emphasized. We have to get assistance to try and address these issues so that it can be accepted in the regional level and also the international level.
But it is encouraging to note that, like the MSG chair and Fiji's Prime Minister, Josiah Vorangambani Marama, who of course is spearheading the various MSG developments, Vanuatu Prime Minister Sato Kilman has also been very vocal and supportive of the kava industry in the MSG region.
1.5 years ago, our PM attended a symposium on commodities in Congo, in Africa, and he came back and said, okay, this is the time we should put a dossier on kava on the table. We started off with a meeting, and then in Vila, and now we have come to seek backup from the MSG here in Fiji, or the summit. From here we will move the dossier forward to try and have our kava accepted internationally, that it is a good product, it is consumable, and it's not dangerous as some people claim.
But one may be wondering as to why the Vanuatu kava is evidently stronger than those in the Pacific region.
People have tasted Vanuatu kava, and I think in the region, people say Vanuatu kava is probably the strongest. In Vanuatu we have about 83 varieties of kava. Fiji, I think about 4, 5, 6 variety only. The other countries, not as many as Vanuatu kava. But it's probably the way, or probably the soil, or the what they call the kava lactone in the kava itself, especially in the roots, are so concentrated that it's very, very strong. I just don't know why. Scientifically, I cannot explain. So all I know is kava from Vanuatu is very strong.
Rapid urbanization in towns and cities around the country has affected the purity of fresh water systems. What was once a clean source of sustenance is now a breeding ground for germs and diseases.
Food and water security is everyone's business and has serious consequences for Pacific economies that are totally dependent on their agricultural sector. As Fiji marked World Water Day yesterday, water insecurity was the major highlight that drew serious attention, and that a multi-sectoral approach is needed to address the current situation and improve water and food security for future generations.
Ladies and gentlemen and school children, protecting water resources means conserving the ecosystems that sustain their availability and their quality. The multiple benefits of our forests to provide water and therefore food security helps to reduce the effects of floods and droughts, prevent soil erosion, landslide, desertification, and salinization. Children, it is therefore important for us all to understand that forests capture and regulate water and assure high-quality water supply for domestic, agricultural, industrial, and our ecological needs.
The Kana singer says climate change together with extreme variations in weather have disrupted food production and water supply. A classic example being the floods of January this year that affected the Western Division. He adds water management policies and practices to meet the challenges of climate change and reduce the risk of water and food-related disasters.
We would like to raise awareness around the country for people to use water wisely, practice water conservation, use alternative water resources, and use less water on food production, water demand management, and sustainable land management. Across the Pacific, poor land management practices has contributed to increased erosion, intensive livestock and crop production, and overuse of chemical fertilizers or pesticides have also led to the contamination of water bodies. Water pollution is a significant cause of reduced water availability to various users and can have serious impact on the environment and on human well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, I strongly urge all of us, including our farmers and those in agriculture, to promote conservation agriculture that improves the contribution of soils and land cover to reduce water-related risks for crops, contribute to improving both the quality and quantity of groundwater and surface water flow into the rivers.
In launching the Blue Water Ribbon campaign, an initiative created to raise awareness on water resources in the Pacific, those that wear the ribbon stand in solidarity with other Pacific Island countries to ensure that water and sanitation issues remain high priorities in the development and quality of life.
Coming up after the break, special officials meeting discussions fruitful, flights to islands to improve, and Homes of Hope holds open day.